Hi, my name is Matt Carroll with World Class Coaching, and today with the help of Academy Sports Coach 2024, I want to talk to you about a session that I've designed to work on going 1v1 for youth players. So as I've said in some of the recent videos, I've been working on working with U9 girls. Previous seasons, I was working with the U9, now U10 boys. So a bit of a different age group as a high school coach, scaling down, breaking things down into a little bit more I don't want to say basics, but the technical aspects of things and working a lot more on the ball than the tactical aspect of the game. So I've been working on this session here. And this is probably what we work on next. I think in the last couple of sessions, what I've done is I've kind of gone over the top with the verbiage and maybe more of the tactical stuff. We know last session we worked on spacing and things like that. We were talking about width, depth, and compactness, and kind of maybe overloaded it there. And previously we worked on scanning, so it's kind of been a lot. And I can kind of see it weighing on them. Mentally that they're definitely carrying that load a little bit, and they're kind of dragging a little bit more and not making the right decision because, and I describe this to parents that basically it's like when we eat too much, there's too much in their brains right now, and they're sluggish. So giving them the weekend to digest, we don't play till next week. So kind of letting them rest a little bit, and then coming on Tuesday and just go something fully just playing, 1v1s, going out and tons of reps like that. So I designed a session around that, but you're still trying to get some of that scanning and decision making elements into it. So this first drill I've got here is we'll have this player pass in to the player in the middle. And what I'll have here, I didn't set this up, but let's say we have a coach here with a cone. Okay, so we're working the scanning aspect here, but for them I think it'll be a lot more fun than just purely scanning because they're going, who am I going to go against, and we have three different gates with three different colors here. So if this coach holds up yellow, when they receive the pass, this player in yellow will go and try to win the ball, and they'll go 1v1 here in the middle. If they hold up red, this player in red. If they hold up orange, the player in orange. We could even add like a gate here, maybe a blue gate, that then if the player in yellow is able to win the ball and dribble through the blue gate, then they become the person in the middle, and we can alternate that way. It's kind of like a king of the hill kind of situation. But in this, I'm looking for them to scan. While they're receiving, they're recognizing the visual cue or the verbal cue. Maybe even this player is talking to them, that when the passes it, is talking to them and telling them, hey, look to your right, to your left, look yellow, and just giving them information. That might be another even way to flip it, to promote communication when you pass the ball. Maybe the coach stands over here, and this player then has to communicate with the player, and they also have to scan. So the different ways that you position the coach and the way that they're presenting the information is differently ways you can modify this drill for what you're looking for. So from there, I'm not going to take too much out here. I'm going to make this a grid here. One in the middle here. I'm going to turn it into 4 quadrants here. And it's a very similar game. The 4 quadrants. So let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this. We don't need yellow. Now we could bring yellow in later, and I'll explain why in a second. We'll get rid of that. And here, so we've got 4 quadrants here, and blue is on the ball. And it says the player's waiting for the direction. They're protecting their quadrants. I'll leave that one right in the middle. I need. So the player in black here is going to dribble up, and they're going to try to get it through the orange or the red grid. Now, initially, what we'll do is the yellow grid is a neutral grid that they're allowed to just dribble in for safety. So they're changing direction. Maybe they dribble in here. There's too much pressure, so they dribble into the red. Then maybe like, hey, there's too much pressure. They've collapsed. I dribble out here and open things up. But they've got free reign of the ball. And I would make this grid maybe a little bit smaller than it looks here. Just to make it a little tighter so they're cutting in and out of the grid. But then black is trying to come in here and dribble through, past their defender, and dribble through the orange gate. If they do so, they go back to their gate, and they're going to get another ball and go again. So you score a point every time you're able to get through an opponent grid. Now, if yellow here is able to win the ball, then they go, and they can either score on the red or the blue grid, with the yellow grid being the neutral grid here. So we're looking for scanning. We're looking for them to control the possession. We're looking for them to take touches into space. We're looking for them to control the ball and not lose the ball. In the 1v1, not just going at the player and, hey, they're in a good defensive posture, and I'm just going to try to go at them using the space available. So maybe draw this player in and cut to the space available. So we're having kind of a 360 positional view of what's going on and what we're looking for. If you want to up the difficulty, maybe here we bring in another player into this grid, and we're making it full 4x4, and there's no safe grid. So that would be a way to kind of scale that up here. So what we'll go through from here, clear everything here. I'm going to set up 2 end zones on this end. Okay, got everything written down on my prep sheet for the next practice. I'm pulling off there. So got an end zone game here. And we have, let's start with 4v4. Let's put these out. So the end zone is this area and this area. We've got a 4v4. My stylus today either. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Speed up a little bit. So 4v4 here. Oops. And ball. And we have, for right now, I'll just set up pug goals, but we could have a keeper in here. Okay. So we're playing 4v4 here. Playing 4v4 here, and we're looking for them to dribble into the area. And once they're in the area, they then can score, but they can only be in the end zone. So we're looking for 1v1s to beat them into space, come in, fire a shot, score here. To track it back up, what we can do is we can look for, to make it more difficult, what we can do is we can have the defender can then track into them. Maybe one defender can enter the end zone and defend them. But initially, if they break that line, they're able to go and find a score. So we're looking to beat our defender to create a scoring opportunity. What I would do from here is I would scale it up a little bit, and I would make it a little bit more difficult by making it maybe 7v7, and then maybe adding a situation where we have not so much a keeper, but a defender that sits deep. So once you beat your first mark, because how many times do you see this where the player is able to beat their first mark, cut the defender, and then when they cut into space, they're cutting into the cover. So this would operate as the cover. So you're playing, it's not just beating your person, you're beating your person and thinking about where the next option is and how you can go by them. So from what I would do here is I would start your scrimmage and work on focusing on 1v1s and looking for them to try their best to create 1v1 situations, create overloads, and using that not just as 1v1 to go forward and beat their person, but 1v1 to find space, 1v1 to find a shot, and hopefully we recreate that a lot in these drills. So I'd love to hear some of the ways that you integrate 1v1 sessions, and especially I'm always looking for some comments on what you do with the U9 player and what your focus is on, or how much are you? I've got a pretty good group that's pretty advanced, and I think they were able to adapt to these concepts. How do you utilize this in your sessions? So once again, my name is Matt Carroll with World Class Coaching and Academy Sports Coach 2424. I hope the session finds you well.